Classically Dad. Robert Frost was a 4-time Pulitzer Prize-winning American poet. The themes of his poems depicted realistic life of the common man in New England. Mending-Wall was first published in 1914, the same year World War I began. It's the story of two neighbors who meet at a stone wall that separates their property. They united each spring to inspect it for damages and make repairs together. In real life, Frost had a neighbor who he united with yearly to walk along their stone fence and make improvements. His neighbor would often say to him the phrase, "Good fences make good neighbors." Mending-Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, and sends the frozen-ground-swell under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they have not left one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit at a hiding. To please the yelping dogs, the gaps I mean. No one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line, and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls, we have used a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across, and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, "Good fences make good neighbors." Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder, if I could put a notion in his head, why do they make good neighbors, isn't it? Where are their cows? But here there are no cows. Before I'll build a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather. He said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top. In each hand, like an old stone savage armed, he moves in darkness as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He would not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, "Good fences make good neighbors." In Mending-Wall, the narrator questions the purpose and need for a wall. He notes that his property produces only apple trees and his neighbor's property only pine trees, and it's not like his apples will cross the boundary and eat his neighbor's pine cones. His neighbor simply responds, "Good fences make good neighbors." The speaker seems to believe his neighbor is misguided and refers to him as moving in darkness. The neighbor seems to have no rationale for why he loves the wall, only that his dad did. The speaker urges his neighbor to look past his old-fashioned ways, but the neighbor responds with the adage he learned from his father, "Good fences make good neighbors." At the end of the poem, the wall is repaired, the neighbors are separated by the boundary, and the last word the neighbor says until they meet next spring is, "Good fences make good neighbors." The irony of the wall is that although it is the boundary that keeps the neighbors apart, this once-a-year maintenance is the only thing that brings them together. During this yearly activity, they are good neighbors. They walk together, interact together, use teamwork to complete a task together. Is the wall the catalyst that brings them together? Or is the wall the boundary that keeps them apart? If the fence was absent, would they be good neighbors all year long? Or would they have no reason to have a relationship at all? The two themes in the poem, there is something that does not love a wall, and good fences make good neighbors, seem to be at odds with each other. But can they both be correct? What other thoughts do you have on Mending-Wall by Robert Frost? If you have answers to these questions or any other thoughts about Mending-Wall by Robert Frost, post them in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel with your friends. Thanks for visiting. Classically, Dad.